myself as chair. We'll go ahead and, if there are no objections, approve the meeting minutes that were prepared from the May 19th meeting that we had. All those in favor? All those who object? Passed. I'm going to jump back to public comment, but jump right into new business and ask Tom Holland to speak to us just about what's going on again. I have a little bit of a background right now. I don't know whether that mic's on. I don't think it is.
But he was more than welcome to come over and
you can just come
talk here.
Sit with us.
Those mics are on.
And just tell us what you're up to again, if you would. Perfect.
Thank you for having me. Hoping for approval for the 18th annual Nantucket Beach Fitness Camp. Exact same parameters as all the years past. So it would be the first 2 weeks of August from 8 to 9 on Jetty's Beach. No music. Is Marshall Thompson still? We always check with him before, just to let him know we're coming. We always leave the beach hopefully a little nicer than when we got there. And everything pretty much the same. So 8 to 9, Monday through Friday, first 2 weeks of August.
Any thoughts? I know Keith, being a veteran of it, and you probably have a very positive outlook on the organization.
Jack. So
No problem with, he's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
No
All right.
problem with this.
Move to approve.
Thank you very much.
Second. All those in favor? Done.
And we'd love to have anyone,
those opposed?
all of you.
None opposed. the motion is passed. So
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
So
Thank you very much.
for staying
Yeah,
and
appreciate
letting
it.
us do this officially.
Yeah. Great to meet you guys. Thank you very much.
Tom?
Thank you.
And I'm going to jump out right now and into public comment and ask Carla to introduce herself to the commission. You can come, have a seat and join us.
As
Yeah.
you may not be aware, the other commissioners, Carlisle Jensen, is newly arrived to the Visitor Services Office of Culture and Tourism and is our events coordinator.
Yeah, so I'm the new special events and film permit coordinator working with Melissa, who's the new director of culture and tourism, and Amy, who's the licensing administrator.
And this is all part of a new infrastructure.
The new kind of creation of the Department of Culture and Tourism, which David is very much an integral part of.
And how did you find this position?
I grew up on the island, have been living in Burlington, Vermont for the past 3 years, and my dad sent me the listing and said, would you like to move home? And it just worked out.
And this is a year-round job now?
Yeah, it's a year-round position. So you might be hearing from me if people want to permit special events on Parks and Rec beaches. But other than that, I'll try to stay out of trouble.
And that's all you do is handle events?
Yeah, so any special events and any film requests. So if someone wants to shoot a film on the island, I'm kind of the coordinator for that. And then I'm going to be working with Melissa this fall with the organizational assessment and the cultural district.
Okay.
Your position is funded by tax dollars?
I am not sure. I'm assuming so.
It's the town employee.
Yeah.
Employee.
Okay, well that answers
Yeah,
that.
that answers that.
That's the only way that the town gets its money.
Yeah.
right.
The,
I didn't know.
the
Yeah.
department was reconstituted to be Office of Culture and Tourism, of which there are 3 divisions: Visitor Services, Cultural District, and Events Coordination. So,
Yeah.
and then a couple other minor things too. But that's what we've become.
And the
So-
events wouldn't be like the 4th of July events.
So not necessarily the 4th of July. That still stays with the Visitor Service Center. But so, for instance, the POPs and the permitting that would go with that, I'd be working with Amy, who works just upstairs, to help coordinate that, taking off some of the roles that Amy Baxter has been doing for the past couple of years in terms of permitting. It's really any event that's held for the public or on public property. So
Amy was doing some of that, right?
yeah, so
Yeah.
she's transitioning, I believe, or just had way too much on her plate.
But
So
she's
we're
dealing with
working
licensing
together.
now, I
Yeah,
guess.
so she's doing more licensing, and I'm doing more permitting. So, for instance, if a gallery wants to have their openings on Friday nights and do a one-day beer and wine pouring, then I help manage that so that they're in compliance with all the specific laws.
Oh,
And
okay, you're doing
Is that
that
a
part of it
permitting
too.
or an
then,
event?
that's technically both because it is a special event and
So
it's,
you're gonna have two people that are doing
well, just me.
it, just you.
Just me.
So
She
because I'm-
was, she was doing it.
Yeah, she was doing that, and then it realized that she had too much on her plate, and the classification, because it has those dual roles, is able to move to me.
I understand the responsibility you have. My head spins at the complexity of the infrastructure.
Talking
And-
Rick's getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm still figuring it out. It's only my, sixth day?
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. Okay.
Yeah, still waiting for a desk chair.
A desk chair.
Oh, we've
Oh,
been,
she's looking at you, Dan.
Yeah, we
What's the
ordered them
story?
today.
just
We ordered them today.
we ordered
She
all
can
the.
sit in front of the 800-inch TV.
Yes.
No, she doesn't. No.
Isn't it, don't you have a new TV?
Yes, we do. You get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to see
Am I
it.
exaggerating?
No,
It's 800 inches.
65.
55.
55, 65? I don't know.
55. The airport's got a 61. So,
Mm.
All right,
but
but we digress. You had asked to come and just introduce yourself
Yeah.
and your role. Thank you very
Yeah,
much. We have a
course.
pretty good idea. David mentioned the three new categories. So it's visitor services, special events, and the third was
Permanent.
cultural district kind of liaison with the Arts Council, which basically oversees that. So we kind of are the state, and we work with the state as the town. The town being representative of the cultural district. So it's still kind of a work in progress.
it's a definite maybe.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we have a lot of, as she says, there's a lot of things coming up in the fall, because they approved it last year. The state approved it I believe last December. Is that correct? Yeah. So it's a big thing for the town, because they get funding or grant money for that specific district, which includes the museums and the churches and the movie theaters and all that. So it's kind of
Okay,
an interesting thing.
wonderful. Well, thank you very
Yeah,
much for
thank
coming
you for
in.
having
Very
me.
nice to meet
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's it.
Have fun.
Second, jumping back to new business, second item is just a follow-up on a discussion, or a follow-up discussion. Jack and I went to the mobile food truck workshop last Tuesday, which was resoundingly attended by Jack and me,
Right,
and a few neighbors along Harbor View Way,
right.
and that was it, representing the town and the idea. There was a full board sitting right here of finance and Melissa and Libby and I forget who else was, 2 or 3 other people.
Christie Kickham.
Christy Kickham was here, yeah.
I
And
think Brian Turdett too, the finance director.
Right, finance
Probably, yeah.
director.
they were
Cap
talking
programs,
about not reconstructing the Children's Beach concession or redesigning the facility to be a very fancy bathroom location now and bringing food trucks into Children's Beach. Now, it was just an open forum discussion. It was not something they were moving forward with, having made any type of decision.
But I
I've-
got an idea. When it gets that far, it's a
It-
done deal.
And as we might have expected, the people who spoke in opposition were primarily people along Harbor View Way.
Right.
The Collitzes speaking for the Stillers and one other family as well.
But other people don't care until it happens.
Until
When
it happens,
that's
right.
when they'll
And,
care.
and things like this happen. And then everyone screams and then everyone starts backpedaling. but it's already happened. At least, then it goes forward for one season, and they'll say, well, we'll just see how it works. Or at Children's Beach case, it derails the whole reconstruction project for 3 years
Right.
before they come around and back to it. And the public loses out because, A, we have food trucks in an area that's not meant for any type of mobility like that, and B, neighbors don't want it, and C, no one knew it was going to happen. The second location they were talking about was Surfside Beach. Oh, well, let me go back to Children's. Jack proposed an idea, and correct me if I'm wrong, and that was just to expand upon
Just
Just
build
the-
restrooms
yeah,
with a kitchen and put a big porch around two sides of it. That's all you really need. It doesn't cost much to build a porch.
Yep.
And so the main cost is the restrooms, which they need anyway.
well, we know how much the cost might be because they tore one down and just had to put one back up,
Right.
the ramps. So
Just the ramps, yeah.
yeah, but the ramps give you a square footage cost of something like that, short of all the footings. And I think they were receptive to that
Right.
as an idea, but I don't think it's enough for them. I think that we're still looking at all of a sudden something that's was 300,000 is now 800,000, and it will be 1.2.
See, what we
By the
did, we
time-
got caught in the idea when Diane O'Neill was there, she wanted to build this big restaurant there with an upstairs bar and all that stuff. And that's when we got held up from rebuilding that building years ago.
Mhm.
And once we got held up, it's dragged on long enough after that they just let us go on.
They let us go on, but didn't really improve upon that.
Now they claim lack of maintenance on our part.
Our part being Park and Rec.
Park and Rec
I-
didn't maintain the
Is that
building.
their position? I didn't hear that.
No, yeah, I haven't heard it lately either, but that's what I'd heard
Okay.
quite a while ago.
I can understand it quite a while ago when we were responsible for our own
Right.
maintenance of
Right, but
structures.
what do we have to do with it now?
Nothing.
Really.
Zero.
Next item?
Yeah, nothing. Well, this is simply a discussion about what the town is
I
thinking.
know.
I know you've got other plans, but for
It's
this
my
evening,
point of, like, we can advise the Board of Selectmen that after discussion, we formed an opinion, and we want the Board of Selectmen to read into their minutes that this is our advice as Park and Rec of what they should do. I think that's our job.
I agree. I agree with that. Because that is our position. We give the best approval or denial, and we are just one cog
Yes.
in
They
the
want to do the
large
same thing
picture.
in Surfside. That Surfside building, I don't see what's wrong with that. I mean, the restrooms need to be updated, no doubt.
I think it's just the size of it. It's tiny, and it's limited capacity in what they
Yeah.
can crank out. They can put out
The
cold
amount-
drinks and hot dogs and ice cream.
But the amount of
but
food
that's
that
it.
Jeff put out of there, though,
Yeah.
he had a food truck show up every morning, as well as with his 100 cases of soda and everything else that he put out of there.
Yeah.
He put some food out of there.
Well, the idea was to update the shack there into nicer bathrooms and changing areas and some showers,
Right.
and put the food trucks to the southeast along an area that there are already about 5 parking lots backing right up to the dunes, and have 1, 2, 3. It wasn't clear just how
It
many.
was over on the back, on the east side.
On the east side of the
Yeah.
shack,
Right.
around the corner,
Yeah.
right up against the
On
beach
the
grass there.
front of the old Gardner property.
And I spoke up because Mike was available for open comment and said, I have not put this in front of the commission, and I'm speaking as me, not for the commission, that I supported it. I like the idea of food options out there. And Jack's position was the opposite.
Right. I
Because
think the concession stand, it'd be nice to expand that concession stand, make it a little bigger. We did make it bigger once, because it was even smaller than that at one time.
well, what we made bigger is turned into the boogie board and beach chair side, of it,
Right, right.
the east side of the building. There's nothing really to do with the direct concession, but for storage for all the stuff they rent out all
Right.
summer long on a daily basis. And that can get kind of messy back there. So a thought from, I'd like to enter two thoughts into our record. And I think that I'll put the motion out this way. Would we support mobile food trucks at Children's Beach?
I would say no.
Your position? As is mine. So, officially, David, for that location, the current board does not support food trucks at Children's Beach.
It looks like we might get a couple of new members.
And let me just jump into Surfside. Since that's the second location mentioned during that open meeting. Keith, do you have any thoughts? I've stated what my opinion was. Jack did at the meeting. And it's not an all or nothing situation. We can go in 2-1 and just be our opinion.
I think the location there is not as meeting of preservation for historic areas. I mean, it's more beachy, where food trucks could be, but I still am in the middle of the road on it as to I like the idea of the service of it. Although at the beach, what really do you need a choice between 3 different styles of food or just one vendor?
Are they going to put 2 or 3 trucks in there, or is it going to be one vendor?
I don't think they were very clear on that.
No.
And I think that makes a difference.
We have mobile food trucks. The gentleman from, Mr. Weldon from the Lobster Trap
Lobster
spoke.
Trap.
They have a food truck.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure
Everybody
we'd get
has them now, yeah.
we'd get Roman Pizza, Steve Paradise would probably say, I'd love to set up out there and make stone fire pizzas for everybody. We see them at special events at Cisco, many different trucks set up just
Mm-hmm.
there. So I think there would be a competitive bid process for it, and there would be some variety. They also move around currently to sites that are not ours to manage, and seem to do so successfully.
And these guys are moving to parties now too, aren't they?
To parties.
So are they
yeah.
going to be available for the beach when they've got a
Yeah,
gig
we have to
someplace
provide
else?
a
That's the thing.
service.
All legitimate ideas.
And that's why I can't say yes or no.
Well, we don't have to. The town is still discussing it. It was a very poorly attended meeting. Maybe they should put something out again. And wishful thinking, more people might step up and have something to say. So, for Surfside Beach, there is no consensus, and some very interesting perspectives on both sides of the case. But that falls outside of our purview as to what these food trucks, other businesses might be. They would have to enter into a contract with the town obligating them
Right.
for a certain time, and that's not something we can regulate. That would be done
For the board.
through Amy and the board for food permitting, basically. Right. Third item on the agenda, unless there's any further discussion about that, I'm going to move on.
Unrelated or somewhat related was Memorial Day weekend Saturday, I think. The bathrooms at Children's Beach were locked. And I had to pee
I
really
think it's
badly.
because the concession is responsible for cleaning the bathrooms, and there also may have been a miscommunication between the concession and the DPW as to how that goes about, because we
Was the
don't have
concession
anything
open?
What's that?
Yeah.
Was the concession open for Memorial Day?
He usually doesn't open until June, about
Yeah,
mid
that's
to late
why they
June.
weren't open.
So there
That's
may have
important.
been some sort of miscommunication between the town and
I think
various
that
departments.
maybe the health department should exercise its jurisdiction on reasons why there are public bathrooms and why they should be open.
I think it was mentioned by the residents of Harbor View Way that the bathrooms that are used there, the porta potties that are set up down there now, have been available, but they are used by all sorts of people just driving by and stopping and using workmen using the porta potties and then cruising on.
I think
It's
that's-
not dedicated.
I think that's a wonderful
Yeah.
opportunity for better health of the people who live here to have bathrooms that are accessible.
Especially when it's warm enough to have running water.
I don't like peeing behind the stage.
Okay, we will enter that into the meeting minutes, and they will review it to the extent that they find
Word
it
for word?
interesting. No,
So
just,
we're not going to write a
the-
letter to the Department of Health?
no.
Okay.
I think, it just, if I may summarize, we are disappointed to hear that the Children's Beach bathrooms were not available for use over Memorial Day weekend because of a lack of communication between DPW and any possible concessionaire or health department official. And we find that the temporary porta potties are insufficient for the demand, especially on a holiday weekend. Our third item on our new business is a follow-up discussion about distribution of funds from class fees by the town of Nantucket. This was something I had asked David to look into. I believe we discussed it very briefly at our last meeting, just where our monies for different
I have sent
activities
an
were sent.
inquiry to the assistant finance director, asking a clarification on,
Okay.
I haven't heard back.
It's not a 911, it's just
Okay.
something that when we get the information, it's just, it would be good to put into record so that we know in the multiple restructuring of departments right now that certain funds are properly coded and available. Jack, you brought up very briefly just a few seconds ago, and I'll bring it back to the table. We have 3 applicants
Right.
for currently 2 vacant seats that will be
Who are
reviewed.
those 3? Do you remember the names?
Yes. Thank you. Their names are Maggie Bornman, Cheryl Emery,
Yeah, sure.
who used to run the film
Right.
festival out here, been here forever, and Campbell Sutton. And I believe with these 3 applicants, our Commissioner, Mr. Yankow here, would like to say something. Would like to have the floor for a moment.
If they find all 3 acceptable, I resign.
All right.
Okay, the problem is they can't appoint until there's an opening. But you can talk to Libby about it. She
I
might
will-
be able to work it out.
My resignation is effective upon the appointment. I resign, effective, however it would work.
Or you
Right.
resign effective immediately.
I resign effective immediately, or I resign effective upon the appointment of the 3 candidates, whichever is most effective to get the 3 candidates on the board and me off.
I think you are the perfect person to head down to the town building.
I'm writing the letter to Erica right now.
Right.
And
Just talk to Erica,
I will.
she'll take care of it for you.
I'm started writing the letter, yeah, remind
Right.
myself.
well, let me officially say thank you very much
Right.
You're
for your
welcome
time,
very
from
much.
all
I
of
hope all
us.
3 are appointed.
And we hope that our new applicants will accept their appointments. They've made the effort. and
Right.
So I have every
Mhm.
reason to think they will. And in bringing them in, I wish you the best of success, and I hope you will stay in touch with us and come visit.
Right.
Thank
What I
you.
hear you say is transfer your sarcasm to some other board.
I don't think you're going to do that. No. No, it hasn't been that
No,
way.
it's-
I don't look at that at all.
It's, you know, if only 2 get appointed, I'm still here.
Thank you.
Try a more active board.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question about why I came on here as to still being why I stay on here.
Right, right.
Would you like
You
to
know.
become our CPC rep?
Oh, interesting.
Not after he's gone, he can't.
Well, not after where he's gone, but I am filling the position.
Right.
Well,
It has to be a
no,
member.
no.
Has to be a member,
You
right?
can't-
We don't
appoint somebody.
have to have a park and rec. They don't have to have. There's a spot for one.
Right.
Okay, but you can't.
But they're
appoint
they're
anybody.
members at large that sit on that as well.
Yeah,
I'm
but
gonna
those, it's set up
consider,
that way.
there's a lot of good opportunity to volunteer, but I'm gonna make sure that it's one that I can have the same first-time enthusiasm like I had when I got here.
All right. I've gone ahead and taken,
Not
filled
because
that.
Jimmy Manchester gave me any of that enthusiasm.
I've gone ahead and filled that CPC position myself,
Right,
Um,
that's good,
I think
However-
that's very good.
just to hold it for park and rec.
right.
And,
I think you're good for that.
well, it's good, it's a good organization. I like it
It
a lot.
is, right, yeah, it is real good.
And I look forward to bringing more information in, and perhaps as other applicants come in, other commissioners are appointed, they may find something in that
Right.
just as interesting. And join. Just, they may want to go to the meetings and start picking it up. I'm starting from scratch with them, just so that we can have a representative
It's good.
from our board. On old business, update on open seats, we've just covered that. And with that, we have wrapped up our agenda for this evening, unless there are any other items you all wish to bring to the table. All right, let me say, for official record, in talking to Erica, would you also put together an official letter reflecting your resignation that is submitted to Park and Rec for our
Yeah.
records?
And it has to go to the town clerk.
And
Okay,
the town clerk as well.
we'll see. As long as I'm not needed.
And
then-
when's our next meeting?
As necessary.
Right.
You're gonna be here in July?
Our next meeting is,
July
Third-
21st.
Third Thursday in July?
It's on there. It's on the-
yes,
But
yes, I'm just looking,
I will be,
yes, I will,
off island.
I will be here from the 7th, off island from the 7th to the 17th, but available on the 23rd, that's June.
23rd,
21st of July.
21st of July.
7th,
Okay, it's gonna be at 6 or
17th.
7?
6 o'clock regular time.
6 regular,
Six.
just because
Thursday.
we had moved to a different day.
Right, okay.
They have HTC upstairs,
Right,
that's why. So we'll be back to our same
okay,
normal
good.
time.
Thursday, 6 p.m.
Oh, what was
You'll be
that
up island
girl's
either way.
name that was here?
Carlisle Jensen,
Harley.
Jensen.
Carly
She
Jensen.
goes by Carlisle.
Yeah.
Well, when she was growing up, she was Carly.
And that's I guess how the Daves knew her too. All right, gentlemen, if there is no other business, I would make a motion to adjourn for this evening.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, David.
Thank you.